Hello, thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
Right now, we should be going live through our streaming on our YouTube channel, but we will wait a little bit longer just so that the rest of our local school
Yes.
council members can join before I start to also record. So we're just buying some time for the rest of our LSC to join. As you all know, I'll be displaying the current agenda here on one of my screens, and then also be talking and presenting from a different screen as well. But let's get some time for the rest of our LSC members to join. Ms. Malhas, welcome. I see Ms. Woods is joining us. Welcome, Ms. Woods. Welcome everybody who's joining us. Just an FYI, Anwar, our student rep, just sent me a message saying that she was not going to be able to attend today's meeting. So just to give you all the heads up. Mr. San Gabriel, welcome. Bienvenidos. Miss Hamad, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everybody.
I'm going to be now be recording the meeting so we can get started shortly. So again, I'd like to welcome everybody who's joining us to our LSC meeting. We are waiting for a few more members to join before we begin. We are recording this meeting and we are streaming it on YouTube as well. I did just send a message to our chairperson. Oh, I think Mary is joining us on the YouTube. Let me send her another message.
Yeah, Principal. I just Mr. Scamilla, I just sent her the email you had sent earlier. Hopefully, she can log in with that.
So we'll get the meeting started in just a few moments. So again, thank you all for joining us on the YouTube stream, and also thank you for all our LSC members currently joining us at this moment in time. I see Chairperson McCann has also just joined us, so thank you. So this meeting is being recorded. Thank you everybody for joining us. Chairperson McCann, you can get us started as soon as you're ready. You are on mute.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm having trouble with technical connections tonight. So welcome, everyone. We will call the meeting to order. According to my clock, it says that it's 5:09 p.m. Let's move forward with the roll call. And I will, Ms. Jones, are you present? I guess maybe Mr. Flores, you can see who's present, right?
Yeah, if you would like, I'll just go through the list and
Yeah, please go
I'll
through
just
the
ask you to
list.
call up. Okay, so I'll just start off with Rawaida Ahmad,
Yes.
Lawanda Jones, Mary McCann,
Present.
Santa Montoya, Rufino Sangravier, Ruth Cruz, I believe Ms. Cruz was on. Mr. Asensio,
Present.
Ms. Malhas,
Present.
Sabrina Woods, Ms. Woods.
Present.
So there was a message that Almar wasn't going to be able to make it today, and then Mr. Scamilla.
Present.
And that would be 9 local school council members present.
Okay, so we've achieved quorum. Thank you, and we can move on then to the approval and the amending of the agenda. So let's take a look at the agenda for a moment, and then I'll entertain any comments.
Just one thing that I want to mention. I noticed that in the reports, in the where is it, by the bilingual advisory committee, I had written voting board, but I think that was just an old note, so that's just something I just got to remove.
Okay, so
So I can make that a change onto this document to reflect that we just eliminate that.
Okay.
I'm in agreement.
yeah, and I see that we have the executive board meeting listed for 0.8 this time. In addition to that small change that Mr. Principal Escamilla just made, are there any other amendments to this agenda?
Thank you for hearing my request on the meeting for the executive board. That's very kind.
Good. So is there a motion to approve this agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand or put it in the chat. Aye, Mary
Aye.
McCann.
I, Sabrina Woods.
I, Cruz.
Aye, Escamilla.
Flores.
And Mr. Asensio had raised the virtual hand in the using his app.
So Mr. Flores, how many ayes do we have?
Mr. Flores, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. There was 8 total members present. I mean, for the vote, Ms. Majas was going to jump off, but she said she was going to come back just because technical difficulties.
Okay, so with that, I believe the motion is still carried. Is that, yeah, Ms. Malhouse is back on. Ms. Malhouse, did you approve the agenda? Did you vote yes for the agenda?
I did not. There's something wrong with my sound. So I just joined back in. I'm sorry. Was I supposed to vote right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Malhas, aye.
Okay, so then the motion is carried. We'll we'll move forward with this agenda. Let's take a look at the minute meetings from November 16th. So are there any amendments or changes to these minutes? If not, is there a motion? Sorry. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes for last meeting of November of 2021 for
I
the local school
second.
council.
All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Cruz, I.
McCann, aye.
Escamilla? Escamilla, aye.
Woods, aye.
Malhas, aye.
Flores, aye. I believe that's 8 votes. Rwida Hamad, would you like to place your vote?
Yes, I tried to write it, but I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but I.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the motion is carried. The minutes are approved. We'll move into our public participation, point 5. Do we have any public participation registered for this evening?
So I only had Emily Melby from State Rep Will Guzzardi's office, who shared some interest, but I don't see her joining us. She may join us at the tail end. Other than that, there was no one that signed up additionally.
Okay, thank you for reporting that. And so we will keep in mind that the staff person from Mr. Guzzardi's office may be joining us. Let's move on then into to new business, point 6.
Yeah, so the principal's report is first, I sent you all a link to our folder for our budget reports. And all of the budget reports have remained the same in terms of the ones that we do not have to vote. Those are for your continued viewing, but there is one transfer report that we should take a look at so that we can get a motion and approve it. So if you all, I'm going to give you some time to go to your email. There's a link that I attached where you should be able to gain access to the budget reports and the transfer vote that we would need to take a look at.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to our email.
Mrs. Camilla, what is the name of the document for the transfer?
The one that you will be looking at is entitled Budget Transfer DEC for December. So Budget Transfer DEC.
Thank you.
And then when we're ready, I'll start to just share out the reasons for the transfer of funds.
Okay, does anyone need more time to locate the document?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. So speak up, or otherwise Mr. Escamilla will get started with explaining. If you need another minute, let us know. Otherwise, we'll start.
So on the first line, in the amount of $650, we ended up having to transfer $650 from a general budget in order to cover benefits for a substitute bucket. So when we transfer money to cover for substitute coverage, it's not only to pay the substitute's pay rate, but it's also to cover the substitute's benefits. And so in this occasion, well, you'll see another reference to covering for a substitute bucket. We need to transfer funds when funds begin to get lower in the substitute bucket so that we can pay our substitutes to cover classes. So on this occasion, we transferred $650 to cover benefits for substitutes in a particular bucket. On the next line, you'll see $190, and that's simply to cover a previous bucket where we were paying our techo for time that he was putting in overtime. And our techo, it helps us with all of our IT services here at the school and our technology, our hardware technology that we use at the school. So we needed to cover some of his overtime, and we needed to transfer $190 from a general budget line in order to cover his OT. $934.92. This is also to cover an old summer bucket where we fell short in covering our payment of our scheduler who was helping us over the summer. And it became a negative in that particular bucket that we were using to pay him. And so therefore we needed to clear the negative and transfer money from a general budget line in order to cover the negative of $934.92. So here in this $5,000 amount that we transferred in order to cover or increase our substitute bucket, this again is to begin to increase the amount that we're going to need to continue to cover teacher absences throughout the school year. Then we see here the amount of $2,800 where we needed to, again, transfer money from a general budget line in order to cover transportation for athletics. So as the seasons continue to increase and we continue to have different teams, we need to provide their busing in order to take them to different games. And so this is covering that transportation that we pay for busing. Then we have $2,600 that we also transferred from a general budget line in order to cover our security guards / restorative coaches uniforms. So we were working with our security team last year to have this covered for this year, where we would provide them with appropriate security polos, uniforms, jackets, so that they can wear, and it continues to promote that solidarity as a team, and so that they're easily identifiable when they're in the hallways and when they're working with our community. So we transfer $2,600 in order to cover the costs of these uniforms and be able to pay for those uniforms for our security. Lastly, we moved money for Project Lead the Way. This is actually grant money that was issued for our pre-engineering program that is dropped into a general budget line. And so we moved it into materials to cover purchases for our pre-engineering program. And so again, this is all connected to a grant that was issued to our pre-engineering program, but they drop the money into a general budget line, and we transfer it in order to cover the purchases that Mr. Moore in the pre-engineering program required. And so that was in the amount of $21,800. These are the only transfers that would require a motion and a vote, and we would be done with this portion of my report.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I have one question, and then perhaps others do too. Can you tell us, Mr. Escamilla, kind of what materials are being purchased for the, for the program that you described?
Yes.
The engineering?
So just to name some, but I know that they're sort of electronic kits that students use to, and I can also, I know Ms. Gonzalez, our operations manager, who also helps Mr. Moore, is on the line, and also Mr. Stachowiak, my assistant principal, who works closely with Mr. Moore and his program, are also on the line. They can share more. They have more details, but they're basically electronic kits that. Mr. Stachowiak, then go ahead and unmute if you don't mind. But they're go ahead.
Yeah, this order for our engineering class, we have 3 classes, and the engineering order has probably a number of over 100 items easily, but they range from electronic circuit kits, all kinds of wiring like capacitors, magnifying glasses, soldering irons, like soldering iron stands. I won't read the whole list, but I'm looking at some of like the bigger details. Cordless drills, socket sets. So these are tools that are used in the engineering program to build components. There are things such as switches and blocks. A bunch of custom like kits that students use to put together circuitry. Fuses, wood strips, so lots of supplies. Lots of wire, like 22 gauge wire in various like colors, black, blue, red, yellow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for that information. Does anybody else have a question on any of the other lines? Okay, so we need a vote to approve this transfer, or this page of transfers. Would someone make the motion, please?
I motion to approve the transfers.
Is there a second?
I second. Asensio.
All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Aye, McCann.
I Woods.
Hi, Escamilla.
Hi, Flores.
I, Malhas.
And that would be 9 votes. The motion passes.
Okay, so the budget transfer December PDF with all of its information has been approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Escamilla?
Yeah, I'm going to go on to my additional report, which I'm going to display here on the screen for you all. So again, welcome to my principal's report. I want to first start us off by saying I wish our entire local school council a very happy holiday, and a special thanks for all of your help and support in meetings, your individual emails that you send to me, and I just highly appreciate an effective local school council and working with all of you. I do want to invite the LSC, if you have some time, to join our staff on Friday. We're going to meet up as a staff. Everybody's invited. It's not something that's mandatory, but some staff do enjoy to join one another and just be with each other and sharing some pizza and some beers over at Easy Street. Easy Street Pizzeria also works with us in providing Foreman a nice discount for our staff to encourage them to get together there at Easy Street on Central. And so our local school council are more than welcome to join us this Friday. Soon after school, we would probably be there anywhere from like 3 o'clock to the evening hours, depending on how long people would prefer to stay there. But we're all, the administration is also planning on doing some raffles and giveaways of gifts for staff who end up joining us at that Easy Street event. So the invite is also extended to everyone here on the local school council if you are interested in making it. And I also want to mention that if and when you have an opportunity, whether that is anytime soon, that you can stop by the school or let me know when there would be a good time for you all to meet with me, because I would like to hand off a small gift of gratitude and just in the spirit of the holiday for all of our LSC members. So if and when you have an opportunity, stop by the school, text me, email me, let me know when you can stop by, or if you're interested in stopping by the Easy Street event, please text me and I will bring the small gift that I have for you all individually to either Easy Street or whenever we can meet. So thank you again. Just some quick recap of some of our Foreman data, where we stand right now. Our attendance rate is at 79%. Our teacher attendance rate is at 93%. I thought this would be an interesting comparison for you all to be aware of as well. And our current enrollment is at 572 students at Foreman. This is just a quick overview of our overall pass rates and overall grade data. And it seems like both our teachers with their instruction and our students with their learning and practice are holding on to respectable pass rates across the board. If you look at the first column here, this represents the 9th grade where the little arrow is at. And overall, we have a 90.10% pass rate with our freshmen. This was as of the beginning of this week. For 10th grade, we are at 84.42% pass rate. For our 11th grade, we are at 87.67% pass rate. Our seniors at our 93.8% pass rate. And then if you want to go horizontally, you'll see the pass rates for different programs at the school. And they would end up here all the way at the right-hand column are the pass rates of the individual programs. So I'll just pause just to give you a minute to sort of look over this report. So I'm moving on to our last set of big news that we received in our last local school council from Senator Cristina Pacioni-Zayas, who mentioned to us that she is awarding us a capital funding grant of $300,000. And I did get more clarity from her office and CPS offices. Originally, I thought that we can begin to plan on utilizing these funds in different areas such as materials, aside from facility upgrades, but it's been made clear to me that the $300,000 would strictly be for still benefiting Foreman and our students in the long run, but it would be towards any type of facility improvements or upgrades. So if, for example, if we want to remodel a particular classroom, another science lab, for example, it would go towards those types of expenditures, strictly impacting our facilities. And so it's going to then now help us come up with a better plan that we know would get approved and we can fully utilize those funds. So again, I just want to emphasize that in this, there is a systematic process that we want to follow for the spending of these funds. And although the funds are not going to be released to us until sometime in the summer, what we hope is to create this process to involve our local school council, our parents and our students, and obviously our staff, in order to get everybody's input to create the appropriate proposals to vote and push through. And so step one in the designing of the process, it talks about creating rules for our participatory budgeting process. And so there are naturally, by the way we can spend the funds, there are some rules that just are part of, that are already existing. And so those rules are, for example, they must impact the school building / facilities. Rule number 2, we cannot obviously exceed anything over 300,000. But I also wanted to give our local school council an opportunity, if you all think that there are some rules that we can incorporate in the planning of spending these funds. And if there are, what are some rules that may be coming to mind as you think about, creating rules for this process. And I just wanted to open the floor in case you all are thinking about some rules that we should potentially consider. Even though we may not commit to them today, they may be some rules that we can potentially consider as we move forward in this process.
One of the considerations, I don't know if it would be a rule, but the virtual meetings that you mentioned with the parents and the brainstorming and developing the proposal options. So what would be the process? Like, do we need to establish a rule or a process for decision making? Because if our community brainstorms and we come up with lots of ideas that exceed the 300,000, would we need to have a rule in there that describes how we would decide?
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. And in my conversations with people from CPS downtown, I had suggested something to them, because we are the very first school that is doing anything like this. Okay, we're setting sort of a precedent here. And so I brought up sort of the same exact point that you may be thinking about, and I suggested that, let's say, for example, well, let me go over some of the logistics, and then I'll get to your point. But some of our next steps with our operations manager, Ms. Gonzalez, she's going to be helping us schedule these virtual meetings for parents, for students, for our community members, to continue the brainstorm, like continue to brainstorm some ideas of people who have visited Foreman, people who are familiar with Foreman, that can make recommendations to a general brainstorm of ideas on how to spend these funds. 2, after we conclude the brainstorm, I'm going to get help from CPS downtown as to how or who we can get some bids to do some of this work, and we can get an idea of how much it's going to cost us. And then so we can attribute a cost to the idea, right? And so if we say, for example, we're going to renovate every single restroom in the school. Let's just pretend that that's one of the suggestions. And so I figure out, and again, I haven't figured this out, this is just for the sake of an example. Let's say that with the help of CPS, we figure out that to renovate one restroom would be roughly $25,000. So now we do the math, and we come up with, like, after we renovate every single restroom, we would only be spending $150,000 of the $300,000, right? And so someone else comes up with a proposal of painting the entire school on the inside and changing the lighting. And so let's say again, CPS helps us with understanding the cost of that upgrade, and we figure out that's going to cost us $150,000. So what we would do is we can perhaps bundle or create options where we bundle different ideas to make sure that we spend all of the $300,000. And let's say there are other ideas that we want to bundle to maximize the spending of the funds. We would we would now have created several options for us to vote for. And so we would then say option A is the painting of the hallways and renovation of the bathrooms. Option B is, renovating the pool area and 5 classrooms. Option C would be, renovating the part of the locker rooms and the cafeteria space. So we would create like different options that we would then vote on.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, provided that the $300,000 are available to us, and one project costs $150,000, and could we use the other $150,000 for another project, or does it have to be entirely for one project?
Yeah, either or would work. So if one project, if it makes sense, and that's why we would create options, if it makes sense to, and again, this is just for the sake of the example, I'm not suggesting this necessarily. So let's just say we want to completely renovate the library, and that would cost us a total of $300,000 versus other things that we piecemeal together. We can create those options, and we can spend the money either on one project alone or on multiple projects that we bundle together.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Any other rules to consider that anyone would like to bring up?
And if we have no ideas right now or suggestions, please feel free to reach out and let me know, and we can bring it up in our next conversation. So the next step, and I showed this to all of you last time, and I presented this already to my staff and students and parents. And so they have begun to send me their brainstorm. And again, this is just another opportunity for me to engage with anyone who is on YouTube right now, or all of you here on our LSC. If you scan this QR code with your phones, it will take you to a Google form where you can provide us with some input on how you recommend or suggest that we can begin to consider spending some of these funds. I think some of the brainstorm process is a good opportunity that we don't want to lose if we generate a great idea and we're like, oh, I can't wait to talk to F.C.C.A one-on-one later on. I don't want that moment to be lost or that idea to be lost. So feel free to scan this UR code and send me your brainstorm as quickly as possible, or whenever you get the chance. Before I end my report, I do want to remind you all to please calendar if you can. We have a play coming up, La Gringa, in February of next year, but we all know that that is right around the corner. And it's, again, being spearheaded by Dr. Blake and our fine arts department. Also in support of this play are other teachers like Ms. Galvez in our world language department, but our students have been trying out, practicing, and trying to do their best in putting on this first major performance. If you all were here last week, you all know we had a fine arts showcase of visual arts, our chorus, and our band, and it was fantastic to see and actually enjoy an in-person performance from our students and our staff for the very first time in a long time. And so we look forward to this play, La Gringa, that will be put on beginning February 25th. So please mark your calendars. And again, I say thank you and happy holidays to you all. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we can move on to the next report.
I just have one question. So in that performance, La Gringa, how, so you've got one in Spanish, and one in English, and then one in Spanish. So is it the same cast and they're bilingual? And so they...
Yes, I believe so. I believe it will be the same cast.
That's pretty amazing. That's really great.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody bring your friends and neighbors to the Gringa.
Yep.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the student representative, who I believe is not here. Is that correct? She was unable to attend.
That's correct.
Okay. A report from the Bilingual Advisory Committee, the BAC.
Yeah, I understand our ELPT, our EL coordinator, Eileen Tracy, was going to join us to share information from the last BAC and upcoming BAC. Is she on here? Let me check. See if she, yep, she's on the invite. Maybe that she hasn't joined us just yet.
Okay,
If
then why don't we
we
move
want
it? Mhm.
if I was going to say, if we want to move on to the PAC report, maybe I can get Miss Tracy on in the meantime.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to report. Jessica Kearns is our chairperson for PAC, and she is unavailable this evening. She was working. She was delivering a baby. So I'm reporting out. So in our last PAC meeting, actually back in November, our parents overwhelmingly voted for more English courses. And so we vetted 2 vendors, and those vendors met and both provided about a 15-minute spiel on their services. And then the PAC chose one. Her name is Ana Maria Soto. She's a CPS vendor, and she's also giving us about a $1,000 discount on her services. And then she's going to work with our PAC to set up online courses in English, English courses that will cater to the times that work best for our parents. So I think it's going to be in the morning. They're going to be virtual classes and almost unlimited seats. So the next step is that we are going to promote this and to our parents. So not only our parents who are attending PAC, which is around roughly about 20 per meeting, but we're going to spread the word. And once we have the details of the actual course, which is very soon, within the next week or two, then we're going to promote that and then start the classes in January. So January through the summer, up to the summer, probably.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much for that report. Are there any FOIAs, Mr. Escamilla?
There have been no requests of our LSC documents or FOIA for our LSC. No.
Okay. And then Mr. Asensio or Ms. Malhas, could you report on the PPLC?
At this moment, we have nothing to report. We will convene a meeting in the few days after we start January. We will convene again at the PPLC. We're still working on the agenda and how we are going to organize that based upon the CIWP.
Okay, thank you for that report. And then going back to see if Eileen Tracy is available for reporting out, or so.
Yeah, I don't see her. I did send her a message, and she had early on in the during the day confirmed that she was going to participate, but she's not responding to my text messages, and she doesn't seem to be on the call.
Okay, thank you. So then moving on to number 8, is there any issue that would require us to have an executive board meeting?
Not at this moment, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Asensio. Anyone else have an issue to bring? Okay, so there will be no special executive board meeting at this meeting. For point 9, we go back to public participation. Do we have the staff person from Mr. Gazzardi's office? Or
No, it
anyone else?
doesn't seem like Emily had joined, so no.
Okay. Well, given that, it's a little bit earlier than we usually end our meetings, but I would entertain a motion to adjourn. You want to move to
I
it?
make a motion to adjourn the meeting for December the 15th.
Okay, is there a second?
I second that.
All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand or chat.
Aye, Asensio.
Aye, McCann.
I
Hi,
would.
Escamilla.
Cruz, aye.
Hi, Flores.
I'm Malha.
And I believe we close out with those votes, with 8 votes.
Okay, so the motion has carried to adjourn. I thank you all. And we will see you after the holidays if we don't see you this Friday on Easy Street, right?
Yeah. Thank you all so very much.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays. Good evening.
Good night, everyone.